Welcome to Everyday Ethics. I'm your host, Michael Liebowitz, and thank heaven Persephone is back today because being alone is not my jam on this show. Please remember, super chats and super stickers are highly appreciated. And with that, Persephone, you may take over.
Hello, greetings everybody. So I do have something that I want to talk about, but I found two questions that are ethical questions from other people that I want to get your take on.
All right.
Okay, so one person says, I have insider information about the possibility of a disabled person not being hired because they're in a wheelchair. I reported anonymously to our ethics department, but they want more information, and I'm not willing to disclose my source in fear of retaliation. This candidate was the number one for the position, and suddenly they were not hired. Someone else was hired who wasn't even in the top three. There were illegal questions about a pregnant candidate as well. Should I let it go and move on, or answer the questions? Provide more information.
I think it's none of the government's goddamn business who people hire, so I'm not going to report a company for making hiring decisions. That's my view. It's if the boss is willing to take losses so as not to employ someone in a wheelchair, he's an idiot. But I don't think the government should be using force to compel him to do so.
I think it's shitty, but I do agree with you.
My arm, it hurts. Like it hurts all down here, and it culminates like in my elbow. I don't know what I did, but I did something.
Is it is it like in the like the bone
It's
here?
weird. It's weird. Up here, it's like in the muscle and in my neck. But when it gets to my elbow, it's the bone. Feels like a bone bruise. Like I probably twisted or turned or did something stupid.
So is it
Okay.
like back? Can you feel it back here?
No, there's nothing back
Okay.
here.
Okay. Okay, here's the other one before I get to the thing that I want to talk about. So this person says, I'm trying to know whether lying for the benefit of other people is morally okay. What is your opinion? Reclusi, there is not really a specific topic for today. If you want to ask questions, please go ahead. So this person says, I was thinking of creating a Facebook motivational page where I would post emotional and moral stories similar to the Humans of New York theme. The stories would be helpful to people, but they might not be true. If such stories do not harm anyone and are emotionally supportive, is this like an ethical thing to do?
Can you repeat it, please?
They want to start a Facebook page where they create motivational stories. So I don't know if you've ever seen Humans of New York.
No. I've seen humans
Humans
in New York.
Humans of New York is they take photos of people on the streets of New York and they tell their stories, and the stories are usually like quite uplifting, usually. So this person wants to do something similar but fake. So like make up fake motivational stories, and they want to know if it's ethical. And I think the point is that they would be portraying it as like true.
Then no, it's not ethical.
That's what I thought.
I mean,
That was
why are
just
we engaging in fantasy? I don't like. Why would you want to do that? Even I don't even understood. I mean, you want to what? Make up stories, and then what happens if the truth does come out? Now the people who have been motivated by your stories. It reminds me on Seinfeld where Kramer was talking about how he gave Elaine inspiration that she thought that he was getting from karate, and then she found out that he was fighting children. And I mean, obviously, it's a ridiculous example. I get it, but the point is that people become then disillusioned and disheartened. You don't build something on lies.
yeah. I mean that makes sense. Like I sort of get what they're going for. One of the answers to the question was like fiction is always, can be inspiring to people, and if you're going to do this, just label it as fiction. Easy. Still
Yeah.
don't know why you'd want to do it. So Reclusi says, well, I could give a more specific instance of the question just asked. You're a teacher and a student cheats on an assignment. You catch them out, confront them, and your suspicions are confirmed. The teacher decides not to report the student, which would possibly result in expulsion or serious punishment. Rather, they just fail the student and give a warning. Is it unethical of the teacher to not report the student?
That, I don't. Still don't have enough information. Is it part of the teacher's agreement with the school that the teacher will report students, or is there discretion allowed? Because if the teacher has made an agreement to report kids that are cheating, then I think the teacher should report the kid. I also don't know the kid. I mean, is it an otherwise good kid who screwed up in this one instance? Is there evidence that you giving the break is going to actually help the kid long term? I would need more information, but initially, I mean, for starters, it's going to depend on the contract the teacher has with the employer.
So okay. I'm going to give fake information. So what if?
Why are you giving me fake information? Okay, go
Because
ahead.
I want to dig deeper into this. So what if it is mandatory for them to report, but it's a kid who's usually very good at like very dedicated, and this is a one-time instance, but they will still get expelled for
Say
cheating.
that again.
So what if the kid is usually very dedicated and this is a one-off that they were cheating? It is in the contract that they have to report, but the teacher knows that this otherwise very bright and dedicated student is going to be expelled.
Well, here's the thing. You don't make agreements to work in schools if you think that the policy that they're doing is bad and you don't agree to uphold the policy. So you've agreed to do it. You've accepted a paycheck that's contingent on this. And now you're in a situation where you think that the policy's wrong, so you're going to violate it. Now, what happens if this kid blabs to the other kids? One of the other kids gets caught cheating, and now you think that kid should get expelled, and so you report him, and that kid says, wait a second, why the fuck are you reporting me, but you didn't report little Tony?
I hate it when you make sense.
Then you must hate it an awful lot around here.
I really do. See, because in that situation, I want to go like, no, of course you don't. And then you explain it, and I'm like, oh, actually, wait a second. No, you're right. That's fucking unethical. So Reclusi says, there is a lot of information that matters, and I guess we're diving into a thought experiment, which we all know Michael hates. Jason Adams says, specific to pregnancy, if the law, according to the EU, mandates 3 years of paid maternity, no questions asked, can HR ever truly be objective in wanting to hire women of a certain age?
I don't think there should be EU mandates about any of that. Can HR ever be truly objective in wanting to hire women of a certain age? Probably not, but the question isn't can they be objective. The question is, does somebody have the right to use force to make them or attempt to make them objective?
No. But again, like the government shouldn't be mandating. I wouldn't want to work personally at a company that didn't. I don't plan on ever getting pregnant, but I also wouldn't want to work at a company that doesn't have a good maternity policy.
So Akira says, what if it's morally wrong to report the kid because he would get expelled? Look, the kid is at a school. I've got a bug, and it's going to aggravate me if I don't kill it. So hold on just a second. It took off. Oh, there it is. Come on.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
Smack the microphone. That's good.
All right, I got him. So here's the problem. The kid is going to a school. Accountability matters. The kid cheated. It's the rules of the school. The teacher knows it. The teacher shouldn't have done it. You said James said he didn't take cases where he had to prosecute. Well, if Jim agreed to prosecute those cases ahead of time, then I would say that Jim has a big problem there. If Jim is given discretion, which he, it seems, was, then it's a different dynamic altogether. This teacher is not similarly given discretion. If the teacher is given discretion, then it's a judgment call and it's fine. My problem is with people who take jobs, and I'm sensitive to this because of corrections officers. corrections officers take jobs where they agree to do certain things, and then they say, well, it's just not practical to do that. Well, then don't take the job. You have no problem taking the paycheck from the place where you think a policy is wrong, but then you don't want to follow through on the policy.
So Reclusi says, if I'm honest, I personally think normative ethics is kind of lame because we find ourselves debating thought experiments with answers based on rule-based normative frameworks. This is why I think meta-ethics is a lot more interesting, personally.
I don't know where that happens because I'm not a rule-based person. I don't take ethics as a rule-based thing. I think ethics is a practical guide to successful living. When I'm saying something is immoral, I'm not saying that it's violating some categorical imperative or command from God or some inherent duty. I'm saying that it's contrary to the principles of human life, of your living. And I mean, we could go through the whole thing. If you make an agreement, you give your word, and then you break it, you're putting yourself at a lot of risk there. You could be harming the kid that you're trying to help. I mean, so that kid, first of all, you can't know that kid's not going to rat, right? I say rat. I don't even like the term, but I don't know what other term to use. And now you're out of a job, and then the kid might get expelled too. So the kid gets expelled, you're out of a job. I mean, there's just so many reasons not to do it. I don't want to go through the entire validation of the virtue of honesty here. You've given your word to do something. I'm not saying it's a rule, always obey your word. I'm saying that for your life enhancement and achievement, integrity is vital.
Okay, can I ask one more like random Reddit question?
If you tell me how handsome I look today, you can say whatever you want.
You look very handsome today. I think the green looks better on you than the blue. You were wearing a green shirt the other day. I prefer it to the blue.
I can't wear the same shirt every day.
Sure you can. Says who?
Michael gets it just fine, Akira. I'm well aware of the hypotheticals and the people enjoy them. I think they're stupid. And
Yeah,
I don't think all hypotheticals are stupid. I think unrealistic hypotheticals are stupid.
Let's talk about the red button, blue button. Okay, no. So, someone applied for a job. So Reclusi says, I would like to be explicitly clear. I was presenting a thought experiment. This has absolutely nothing to do with me. Not as easy to ask everyday ethics questions as you think it is.
Okay,
Thanks, Reclusi.
so
it's
Reclusi,
not.
no, Reclusi, we know this was you specifically. You've got some kid and you're covering for him. Maybe, somebody, I don't know. What the fuck? Well, I'm kidding. Go on. Let's just get to it.
It's your internal sexism showing that you think the cheater is a boy. No, Reclusi, it is. It is weirdly difficult to think of everyday ethics questions. Anyway, here's the other one. So a guy applied for a job, and part of the job that he applied for must have been like a government thing, was that you can't have touched any drugs within the last year.
Yeah.
So he applies for this job, and it seems like the application process takes like a really long time. So he is going through the application process and he does drugs. He then phones the person who's in charge of his application and drops out of the running because he feels wrong about the fact that part of the ethics agreement was that he doesn't do drugs. He did drugs. He took himself out of the running. But he's also on the verge of becoming homeless. So he posted a question, and he was like, was he stupid to do this? Was this actually the ethical thing to do? Or was it not the ethical thing to do because now he's put himself in like a really sticky situation financially?
I don't know. I was thinking of something else. Like these questions, this guy he has to work for the government or he's going to be homeless. I don't even think that's possible.
I didn't say he has to work for the government or he's going to be homeless. I said I think that it's a government job, but I don't know what it actually was. I just said he applied for a job. They said don't do drugs. He did drugs. So he pulled himself out of the running, but he is now he doesn't know if it was the right thing to do because I'm trying to see if I can find this. I know, why don't you do an ad while I try and find this?
I don't want to. What we're going to do is test my ability to come up with everyday ethics questions. What if we do that? Would that be fun for everybody?
Yes.
It would?
Yeah.
All right, Persephone. Suppose a good friend of yours invites you to come out. And it's a good friend, and you'd like to spend time with that friend. Unfortunately, there's somebody, and you've had a dynamic with this friend where you say we don't spend enough time with each other. You don't invite me out, so the friend says, okay, here you can come out. Unfortunately, with that friend is somebody that you really dislike and do not want to be around. But that spending time with that person, it's not going to be the end of the world. You're just going to be uncomfortable for the night. And if you tell your friend, I don't want to come because X is there, you now might be excluded from future times going out. What do you do?
I go out. This situation has happened to me. That exact situation that you just described.
Wow.
That has actually happened to me. So, in that situation, I made it clear to my friend that the person that she was hanging out with, that I didn't like this person that she was hanging out with. And I said, just so long as you know that it might be a little bit awkward because I don't like her, like we don't get along, but I want to see you, so I'm coming along to see you. Just be aware that there might be some awkwardness.
Okay,
That's
now,
what
so when you're out, are you kind to the person? Are you nice to the person? Do you pretend to like the person? Are you rude to the person, creating conflict? How would you handle that?
So how I did handle it was I was cordial.
Cordial,
If
cordial, not cordial.
I was friendly, when she tried to speak to me, I didn't brush her off, but I also wasn't like going up to her and being like, "Hey, let's catch up." Blah, blah, blah. I was friendly, but sort of distant. No, I didn't make it difficult for my friend. I didn't make it clear to this person that I didn't like them. I was polite, I was polite. Spent most of the evening speaking to my other friend, or my actual friend. That's really quite simple for me.
Okay, you make an agreement with somebody to go out for the evening. Let's say Chuck. Let's call him Chuck. You make an agreement to go out with Chuck. You say, Chuck, I will go. I will give you a ride. We'll spend some time together, and then I'll drop you off at the end of the night. What now? It turns out that when you're giving Chuck this ride, Chuck is going to be doing something unethical. He's not committing a robbery. He's not doing anything like that. What he's going to be doing, let's say, is keeping tabs on his girlfriend. He wants to drive by her house to see if she's home, because she said she would be, and he doesn't trust her, so he wants to go check on that. Now you've agreed to give Chuck a ride around. You've said, yeah, I'll give you the ride. But now you find out that that's the case, and you say to Chuck, Chuck, I don't want to do this. Chuck says, but you've given me your word. What do you do?
I tell him I gave you my word under false pretenses. I wasn't aware that you wanted to do something that I don't agree with, and I don't agree with it. Therefore, you can still go and do it, but I won't be doing it with you.
Okay. What harm is going to come to you? Remember, this is an egoistic ethic. So what possible harm can come to you in this scenario? Let's see if you can justify your position.
Is Chuck a good friend of mine?
Yeah.
Well, Chuck might not want to be my friend anymore, but if he's doing something that I don't agree with like that, then I might not want to be friends with him either. So if I tell him, listen, I don't think that what you're doing is right, and I don't think you should be doing it, I won't be a participant, and he says, well, if you don't do this, then we're not friends anymore, then he's not a particularly good friend.
But why would you feel the need to explain that you shouldn't be doing it to begin with? How is it going to harm you? That's what I'm asking. I'm asking
How?
from an egoistic perspective. You're saying that this is unethical. How do you know it's unethical? Justify it. By the
Oh,
way,
how do?
Jason Adams, The Practice was one of my favorite shows. They would say I got that Lou Jack thing when it came up, like when they didn't want to take a fresh case. So a case comes up, someone comes into the office and they say, "Oh, you want to handle this?" Can't. I got the Lou Jack thing. That's what he's referring to. Okay, so go ahead and explain to me why it's against your interest to do this.
To drive Chuck around. Oh, by the way, Chuck is God in Supernatural.
Okay, I don't care.
Well, you just said why. Okay, so why is my friend driving around and stalking his ex-girlfriend unethical? Is
No,
that what
no,
you're
no, no,
asking?
no, 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 no. Why is you driving your friend by his girlfriend's house to see if she's home unethical for you? Meaning, how is it against your interest to do it?
I don't know. It just feels wrong. Feels
Okay.
icky.
So you can't just say it feels icky. We actually
Yeah.
want to take you through. Come up, let's brainstorm. In what ways might this be harmful to you?
In what ways might it be harmful to me? I have no
Sure.
idea. Tell me the answer, Teach.
Oh, for FFS. Okay. So for starters, you're friends with a person who is asking you to do things and not giving you the full context. That's certainly against your interest to have that kind of friend. So you might want to just cut that right off the bat. Dude, I don't want to be friends with you.
It's
Second,
very true.
what suppose this woman finds out that you've taken him by this house and calls the police and says this guy is stalking me, and now you've got police interactions. Again, suppose this woman tells other people. Now your reputation is getting sullied because you've done this. So there's a few ways that it can harm you right off the bat.
I mean, I agree with all of those, and you say them, and it's like, well, yeah, obviously,
Oh, if it was so obvious, then why didn't you just come up with them?
because because it's a Friday night and I've had a long day of
It's
meetings.
Friday night for me. This is my third show in a row, and I got another one coming up where I'm doing most of the talking. Well, what do you mean Friday night?
Cry me a river.
I'm not crying you a river. You started with the cry me the river stuff, and I'm just saying, hey, we're not. That's not valid.
That's very true. It's not valid. So Reclusi says someone lets you borrow their gun. They come to you and want it back. It's their gun, but you suspect that they are unwell. Similar dynamic. Do you give them their gun back or refuse to give them what actually belongs to them?
I'm sorry, but to keep somebody else's property, I suspect they're unwell. It just isn't going to cut it. I give it back to them. If you've got more evidence that this person is going to kill somebody, that'd be
Or
a different story.
themselves?
They have the right to kill themselves. I really don't have issue with that. Unless I thought, perhaps maybe like if this person is having a temporary break with reality under extreme fever conditions, I mean, there might be some circumstances, but suspect they are unwell. No, I'm giving the gun back.
I agree with you. I just don't like that. And I know that's not a good I know that's not a good reason to say something, but I don't like give your friend a gun if you think they might kill themselves.
Well, to be fair, I'm not providing them with my gun. I'm
No.
returning somebody else's property to allow them to govern their own life. I don't have to, I mean, I could talk to them. I could try to convince them otherwise. But at the end of the day, it's the person's life, not mine. And I don't
It
have the right to make somebody stay in existence who doesn't want to be here.
it is definitely right.
Right.
It just doesn't
All right. Get
feel
out your
good.
feels. Get out your feels.
No, I live in my feels. So if you suspect that they want to murder someone,
It's again, suspect. I mean, am I the one that's paranoid here? You know what I mean? Like you've got to give me better information than I suspect.
so
Like I suspect Persephone's got the hots for me. How should we all behave as a result of my suspicion? I mean, you know what I mean? Like you have to come better than that.
so
Like, so if you suspected, let's say this, let me ask you a question, right? You've got a friend. You suspect that her boyfriend might be cheating on her. You don't have any evidence, but you suspect it. Do you go and tell your friend, hey, I suspect Brian's cheating on you?
Lots of people do that.
I didn't ask about lots of people. I asked about you. What do you do?
If I suspect that my friend's boyfriend is cheating on her, I verify. I verify before I spread
That's
information.
what I'm saying. So if I've got a high degree of evidence that this person is going to go take somebody else's life, well then yeah. But just I have this sneaking suspicion that they're up to no good. No, you don't deprive somebody of their property because of that. If you've got evidence, if the person's made statements, I'm going to go blow, Julian's head off, or I'm going to go stick up the local whatever boob store. I couldn't think of anything else.
And so you came up with boob store.
Yeah, I think of boobs a lot. Is that a crime?
In all fairness, I could have also asked what is the relationship between Chuck and his girlfriend? What is the reason? What is the history? We can pick apart these thought experiments in all regards. I guess I was just trying to engage with something and then work through the degrees where your choice differs.
Okay, so let's examine this. Uh, the relationship between Chuck and his girlfriend is not really relevant here. If Chuck has sound reason to not trust his girlfriend, Chuck should not be in the relationship with his girlfriend. That's the first thing. Secondly, even if that's the case, Chuck does not have the moral right to bring me in on this without telling me ahead of time. Simply asking me for a ride is false pretense, right? Chuck should have told me from the get-go, hey, listen, I love Susie. I normally trust her, but something's bothering me, and I just want to see if she's telling me the truth. And let me make the call, right? Don't pretend it's for something else or that it's not for anything at all, and then this comes
Yeah,
up.
and I suppose if it was Chuck's car that you were driving, then
I
you'd
wouldn't
give
have to drive Chuck's car. What's that got to do with anything?
then you'd give his car back even if you thought he was doing something unethical with it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you totally switched this up. We can pick apart these thought experiments in all regards. I guess I was trying to engage with something that worked through degrees where your choice differs. I can offer exhaustive content and I don't know. Reclusi seems like he's in his feels, and I don't know why. I don't really know what happened.
Uh,
I mean, honestly, when you what comment of his am I taking too literally?
Reclusi, you're not irritating anyone. This is just what we're like.
No, you're not. But we want you to bring questions so that we can pick them apart. That's the point.
That's the whole point. Yeah, but you're not irritating. This is
No,
fun.
no, but like I don't want you to bring. I mean, should I just say everybody bring a question and I say okay, nice job. Let's move on to the next one. I
Good
mean, the
question.
whole point.
Good question. No answer. Just good question. Next.
And I don't know what I don't even know what the comment was at this point. All right, we're just about done here. We've got no super chats or super stickers today, so now I'm broke. But that's okay.
We're gonna have crime, criminals, and corrections.
Yes,
After
you can't
this.
say it because you're just not used to it yet. Crime, criminals, and corrections coming up. 15 minutes. You can bring super chats and super stickers there. That's where we are going to be giving you the real dirt, the raw truth about corrections. Coming up on the next on this issue, what I want to talk about, I haven't even told Persephone is. Know what? You got to wait and go there and see.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Listen, have a great weekend. Reclusi, keep coming back. Keep bringing your questions. You're not irritating us. We think you're wonderful. Audience, thank you so much. Over the weekend, be ethical. Oh, tomorrow at noon. I forgot all about this.
Megan
And I
Ribbons.
hope Megan Ribbons, and we're going to be doing more discussion about education. So, well, we'll see you whenever.
Bye.